Good afternoon and welcome to the John F. Gately Show. Today's news, you can call me Jack. Thank you so much for joining us today on a beautiful day in downtown Plymouth, high above Town Square in America's hometown. What a beautiful spring afternoon. A little cloudy, not so much of a breeze, probably 60 degrees maybe. Got a lot of tourists out here walking around. This is start the tourist season. It is just a great spring day. The air is dry. It's just, you might need a sweatshirt, but it's a nice day out here in beautiful Plymouth. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm John F. Gately. As I said, you can call me Jack. And let's get into today's news. So the biggest thing on the national stage, in my perspective, is the debt ceiling. And where we're going with that, we have two clips to open up today's show. Both are from Town Hall. At least they were tweeted out by Town Hall. And one is basically an incitement to violence, saying that if the Democrats don't get their way, then things could get ugly in the streets. Isn't that interesting how the Democrats always kind of slide in the threat of violence when it comes to policy? If they don't get what they want, there's always this implied threat of violence. And then you wonder what they're talking about when they say who is a threat to democracy. It's them, right? They're always projecting, right? Oh, the Republicans that are a threat to democracy. Yet they're the ones that imply violence and actually conduct violence 2020 in the streets. So let's take a look at the quotes here. You'll recognize the perpetrators, right?
House Democratic, caucus, certainly the progressives, but also in the streets. I think that this is
also in the streets.
It's important that we don't take steps back from the very strong agenda that the president himself shepherded and led over the last 2 years.
But it's a very strong agenda that the president shepherded. Yeah, oh yeah, he's been really strong. He doesn't even know what day of the week it is. All right, AOC.
Agrees to spending caps, or if he agrees to work requirements on certain social safety net programs.
It's going to be a problem. We do not legislate through the debt ceiling for this very reason.
It's going to be a problem. We don't legislate through the debt ceiling for this. The reason why we have the runaway debt is because we should. You see, this is like a bifurcated system. You get the blank check by raising the debt limit, and then you spend all that money, and then you overspend that, and then you ask for you see how they're not connected, right? And that's how the Democrats like it, and a lot of the Republicans like it too, because they can get all the money they want for their pet projects, whether it's war in Ukraine or whatever, and they don't have to pay for it until the next Congress comes around and they can raise the debt. It's circular, right? There's no actual responsibility to control government spending from Democrat or Republican circles. Not when you have senators like, I don't want to pick on anybody in particular. So let's just say Mitt Romney, right? Exactly. That's exactly what's happening. So let's see where they are on the budget situation. Zero hedge. GOP White House remained far apart on deal, according to Tyler Durden. This is this morning's update. They were due to meet at the White House today at 11 a.m. Now that Biden is back from Japan. Somebody might want to just tell Biden he's back. After a long months of impasse over raising the nation's $31.4 trillion debt ceiling before default occurs. I think that's a file photo. And down here, Max Cohen, top GOP debt limit negotiators Graves and McCarthy just expressed deep frustration with the talks. This is a report out this morning at 10 a.m. I think the highest levels of the White House, they don't understand the contours of things that we understand, and that the House and Senate Republicans are aligned. Are they? Because time after time, it's always been Turtle Mitch McConnell who has multiple times thrown conservative spending fiscal conservatives under the bus. And I don't know if you've noticed, but it's McCarthy who has been basically leading these talks. And McConnell, hard to find out there. I'm sure he's sitting in on the talks, but he's not out front, right? Maybe because nobody likes him. That might be an aspect of it. but also because he's probably ready to cave, right? He absolutely. I don't know if he's really with McCarthy on this. I find that hard to believe. Now, McHenry, on whether he believes June 1st, because Yellen has been pushing this June 1st deadline as, the drop dead date, so to speak. I want to trust the Treasury's math, but they've got to show their work. If the president doesn't have a sense of urgency here, then that raises more questions, valid questions, about how they justify the date. So what McHenry is saying here is basically, if the White House is not urgent in their negotiations, they seem to be a little lackadaisical here. If they're not urgent in their negotiations, then maybe June 1st is not really the deadline. And if Yellen doesn't want to release actually how she got to that date, then there's not a lot of transparency on the issue, is there? No, of course not. So there are a lot of questions of whether or not we'll get there, and whether or not the 14th Amendment, AOC, and I think some other far left nut jobs want the 14th Amendment to be used. Highly controversial whether the president can unilaterally raise the debt ceiling on his own. Highly controversial. And then there are some other people out there that are like hedging the bets, basically using the debt ceiling as a way to cover for their own policy failures. Who am I talking about? Janet Yellen. So she's basically saying, hey, if the U.S. defaults, then we're going to have high interest rates. And, oh, what a convenient thing. That will get me off the hook for the high interest rates that are hurting Americans and inflation outpacing wage growth, as we've seen basically since the beginning of the Biden administration. So here she is here. U.S. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen on Tuesday warned that failure by Congress to raise the government debt ceiling will basically result in providing Yellen cover for high interest rates. And the resulting default would trigger an economic catastrophe that would send interest rates higher for years to come, because theoretically then we would have to pay more for the money that we're borrowing because we're a higher risk. You know what? I don't want to see the country default, but on the other hand, could there be like a silver lining there? I don't know. I don't want to see the country default. I'm going to say that again. But other than giving Janet Yellen some political cover, it might be a wake-up call for our establishment base, Republicans and Democrats alike, the Uniparty, to say, hey, you don't have your act in gear. You've got to do better, right? Significant opportunity for a wake-up call. By the way, I am got my Let's Go Brandon mug right here. And I do have an important chat that I have to answer. I'm, how do I want to say this? Not going to bring up the Bubba Wallace discussion, because as some of you might know, I am a big NASCAR and IndyCar and much less of an F1 fan. But I'm not going to bring up Bubba Wallace. I am just going to say I'm very much forward looking to this IndyCar 500 this weekend. Okay. Okay, so that chat actually doesn't require a response, so we'll let it go and they can send me an email. All right, let's go on to our next story. Sorry about that little diversion. I am trying to run a business here. It happens, right? It happens. Our next story is about the invasion. So not only are we running out of money, but we're also facing an invasion, mostly on our southern border and almost entirely self-inflicted by the Biden administration. And now Governor Hochul wants to use airplane hangars at JFK to house migrants. It's bad enough that they have, and we've seen the video, they actually are now taking over my favorite hotel, which went out of business during the virus, the Roosevelt. They're taking the Roosevelt over, and I think it has 1,000 rooms, and putting in illegal aliens. So the chances of anybody ever rehabbing that hotel to bring it back to its glory are probably over. And yeah, sad. I love that hotel. But don't worry. They're going to pack it with illegal aliens and completely and absolutely positively ruin it. Just like heartbreaking. But now Governor Hochul wants to use the airplane hangars at JFK as shelters for the illegal immigrants, and potentially a federal park, a national park across Jamaica Bay for also an illegal immigrant encampment. So it's awesome. They're going to be using our national parks for illegal immigrants. So you can't go visit your national park because it's been taken over by illegal immigrants. This is just as you can't believe this. Overflowing Blue State considers airplane hangars as major report in the Daily Caller. Thank you very much. Let's scroll down to the video here. Mayor Adams calls for expedited work authorization for asylum seekers. So not only do they want to use the airplane hangars and the national park for housing and the Roosevelt Hotel for housing for illegal aliens, but more important than anything, and Governor Hochul is going to tell you this in just a second, they want to expedite their work permits. They want to get these people working in the work marketplace so that they can compete against you, the Americans, and lower your wages. Inflation is going up. Wages are not keeping pace with inflation, but these people want to bring in more workers to depress your wages. See how much they hate you. They say they're champion of the working man or woman, but that is just not the case when you watch what they actually do. All right, let's bring up Kathy Hochul. Come on, Kathy. It's spinning. Here she is.
We have over 1,500 National Guard members. What are they doing? Building cribs, running out for food, making you feel secure, helping people. You are there to roll up your sleeves with all of us and to bring the business community to bear and the influence that you have. So thank you, Kathy, for working on this issue with us as well. Dan Ridgey, I want to thank you. Andrew. We've seen each other at many, many events, but when you harness the power of the restaurants and the hotels and all the employers, there's a great story you're going to hear unfold here today about great possibilities, great opportunities that thus far have been overlooked. And we're looking to capitalize on them today and put a lot more people to work in your facilities as well. We are so fortunate to have the leader of the New York State AFL-CIO, again, bringing labor to the issue as well. And I want to thank Mario Salento for his support for us as well. And you're going to hear from Yaver Rada, an asylum and asked to do the impossible. But he rose up. He put so much muscle behind the effort to find homes for these individuals any way he could, leaving no stone unturned. And he recognized, now that we have over 70,000 people fleeing difficult, terrifying circumstances, whether it's an oppressive regime in Venezuela, economic. Now we know why. New York is an incredible place to live, but it also has conferred a lot of responsibility. And the fact that right now there are over 42,000 people safely sheltered in this city shows the effectiveness of the mayor's operation, but also the compassion of the people here in New York, because this is a humanitarian crisis, not created by this city, not created by this state, but it doesn't matter.
Created by Biden.
Blaming doesn't help.
Don't blame Biden.
Executive positions where you have to just manage, and that's what we have to do. But we've helped. I want to thank my partners in state government.
Oh my God!
Andrea Stewart-Cousins.
When did she actually say the bad part? Let's move
upstate. I know exactly where it starts too. There are over 5,000 farm jobs. 5,000 farm jobs open as we speak.
Here she say, "Here's your job."
The cows don't wait to be milked. The plants need to be maintained and harvested in a few months. The crop.
And we need to hire cheap labor to do this, to do the jobs Americans don't want to do. That's what she's saying.
We have more than 5,000 food. Give them opportunities. We just need a little bit of help. And that's what today is all about. Mayor, thank you. Thank you for being the leader when the city needed you most. Our great mayor, Mayor Eric Adams.
Really want to thank our governor. She was in City Hall.
Oh my God, he is so low energy. Like I said this yesterday, like when he comes on, you're like, oh, like he is the Mayor Adams is the lowest energy guy out there. He's like Jeb Bush 2023.
Seeing a mayor in a long time, and to have you there showed me how of this proportion. It's just counterproductive. It is hurting our fight. And we are all in this city together. It doesn't matter if you are a messenger or a reporter, this is our city. And we should be clear on this moment that this challenge is of epic proportion. And some of the reporting that is indicating we are not dealing with a crisis is hurting what we are attempting to accomplish. I am pleading with you that we should have a level of accuracy in what is happening during this particular period of time. Some of the reporting is not reflecting that, and it is unfair to the people.
So
of
this
city.
is when Mayor Adams blasts the media for their reporting. If you're not reporting our version of events, then you're doing a bad job, media.
Actual numbers. They're not made up numbers. And we are seeing the week before 4,200. Just in one location alone, we had over 800. Not only by buses, through the airports, through cars, through every mode of transportation. And our administration has accurately reported the information to the best of our ability to partner with the governor's office to monitor and to address this.
They're
crisis.
flooding into New York City by every mode of transportation. Make it stop. I can't watch anymore. Make it stop. I can't watch anymore. I want to get the name for you of the national park that they want to use. They want to use Floyd Bennett Field, which I believe is a former airfield on Jamaica Bay across from JFK and just north of like Rockaway or northwest of Rockaway Beach, Jacob Riis Park. That's where it is. You look it up. And it's a national park. It's part of the Gateway National Park. And they want to make it into a encampment for illegal aliens. Isn't that special? So if you wanted to go there and enjoy that place with your family this summertime, maybe not. Sorry. It's going to be an illegal alien camp, sounds like, if Kathy Hochul gets her way and if Mayor Adams gets his way. But that's what America is all about now. Right now, we're all about spending. As Vivek Ramaswamy said, I think I got his name right, said yesterday, we're spending $7,000 a month on illegal aliens, yet somehow we don't have the money to borrow from China to meet our debt limit, right? Like, what's going on here? Somehow we have enough money to send to Ukraine, but yet we're going out of business with our debt limit. Somehow we have $7,000 a month to spend on illegal immigrants, house them in the Roosevelt Hotel. Get what I'm saying? Right? We are in insane land when it comes to fiscal responsibility, and we're protecting the Ukrainian border, but not protecting our own border. This is cray-cray, as the kids say. Unbelievable. So here in Massachusetts, a couple of years ago, we had a ballot question that was attempted to legalize assisted suicide, and it failed, thankfully. And now this whole assisted suicide thing is back with a vengeance. You know, when they passed the Affordable Care Act, which is neither care nor affordable, there was this big talk of these death panels. Oh, they're going to have death panels, and they're going to decide whether you live or die. Well, this is kind of like the newer version. This is Death Panels 2.0, where you yourself get to decide whether you live or die. It's assisted suicide, and it's a big thing. And a lot of the big medicine, big pharma are getting into this because it's cheaper when you die earlier. And the government's all for it too, for the most part, because again, it's when you die earlier than you would otherwise die, it's cheaper. It saves the government a lot of money. Yeah. And so there's a big celebration of this, and there's a big push here. I know in Massachusetts, here behind enemy lines in Massachusetts. And yesterday on TikTok in Canada, there was this granddaughter talking with her grandmother about how she was excited and looking forward to the day where she's going to commit suicide. I know we're committing suicide as a nation by not protecting our border and spending too much money and worried about Ukraine more than we are our own country. But this on an individual basis, this is horrific. And it's a devaluation of life, which we should value for every day, every moment that you have it. And here is the granddaughter and grandmother kind of celebrating the fact that she's going to not only die, we all die. Well, not me, but everyone dies. But I don't want to die, and I don't want to die one moment earlier than required. And I don't think anyone else should. But even if you think they should, the question is that do you want to live in a country where that's allowed, where that's considered moral? Listen to these people. It's absolutely disgusting. Let me just bring this up on the screen here. Here's the TikTok. Oh, don't load.
Let this soft mineral melt in your mouth to rebuild your gums and
Hold on a second. Let me just load this ad, and then we can play it. Thank you, Post Millennial, for putting an ad. Skip ad. Thank you. Here we go.
As you move closer to the date.
It's like the light at the end of the tunnel.
What are some of the precursors, like the questions they ask to make sure you're doing it for the right reason?
Your diagnosis is.
Does she look like super sick? I don't know, but I'm just saying.
If it's fatal, how many more months you have?
It's fatal, right? I don't know if you've ever read the tagline at Zero Hedge, but what is the tagline on Zero Hedge? I think the tagline on Zero Hedge is, I'm going to bring that up, and because it's pretty funny tagline. I'm going to bring that up so that we're going to use that in today's episode because it's pretty funny. I want to make sure I conclude. But let's listen back. Oh, here it is. On a long enough timeline, the survival rate for everyone drops to zero. Zero Hedge.
Consider, they keep stressing the fact that you can always change your mind.
What is the actual day?
Until you're
I
dead.
know, like they set an appointment, additional injection, putting you to sleep, and the big pain is the prick in the hand to provide for the little valves, and then once you're in a deep sleep, there are two other injections you get. At that point, you go. So it's painless.
Would you prefer it be at home?
Well, I think in my case, I would like to do it at the hospital. I came in quietly. I'd like to go quietly.
Are you nervous? Are you excited?
Listen to the music in the background just to get the mood. It's thoughtful and it's compassionate. You're killing grandma. During the pandemic, I heard that if you didn't get vaccinated or didn't wear a mask, you were killing grandma, and that was immoral. But now you can kill grandma, and it's okay because you're saving the government money, and it's moral. This is insane.
How do you feel?
Looking forward to it. Just putting an end to being dependent, no control.
So as the day approaches, is it something you're thinking about every day, or
No.
just
No.
it's going to happen when it happens?
Yeah, when I'll be ready, I'll know.
Yeah.
I've always made my own decisions for myself. In living, I trust I will in death. I do believe my husband is there saying it's about time. And I'll say, hi, I'm here.
Well, that's nice. She's going to go to an eternal heaven with her husband. But you see how that can be used to play on your emotions? Let's end your life now, Grandma, so that you can go live with grandpa in eternal heaven, wherever, whatever that is for you. And by the way, we'll also save the government some money while you're at it. And also, we won't eat into the inheritance for the grandkids. See how this works for everybody? You can die early, we'll assist you. And the big winners are the government, because they won't have to pay all sorts of hospital medical. And your relatives will also win because they'll inherit more money that would have otherwise been spent on your care. This is great. Let's bump off grandma.
Somewhere in the multiverse, there's a you and me that work.
Oh, that's nice. It's the last time they're going out to dinner. Good God. What is this? That's in Canada. That's in Canada. But what does this country come from? Once again, on a long enough timeline, the survival rate for everyone drops to 0. Thank you, Zero Hedge. But what does that really mean? How is that moral? How is that something where something that we can celebrate? That you can see how this could really develop steam, and now you're getting bumped off. And at what point is it not so much assisted, but strongly encouraged, right? We saw all sorts of social coercion during the pandemic, didn't we? We saw all sorts of social coercion. We still have people here in Massachusetts that walk down the street by themselves wearing a mask. We still have them driving in their own car by themselves wearing a mask. Imagine the type of rhetoric and brainwashing that can be developed to encourage you to bump yourself off. And it be sold as something that's good for you. We just saw that in the pandemic. And I think we're going to be seeing this, sadly, with this assisted suicide thing, which is coming to a county or state or town near you soon. There's a lot of people that are behind it because so many people benefit from it, except for grandma and grandpa and their God-given right to live. The part of life is, you live with the pain too. Not every day is coming up roses, as if anyone that's been around for a little while, even some young people, you all realize that, right? That's almost always why I talk about the weather to start the show, because you just celebrate where you live and the God-given beauty that's like literally out your window for almost all of us. And even if it's not the most prettiest thing, it's beats the alternative. Let me just put it that way. TikToker who filmed himself committing crimes for clout says outrage is only because he's a, wait for it, black male. Yeah, no, right. All right. So I don't know if you've seen this video the other day. Paul Joseph Watson, that's his name, right? He did a great video the other day. He bleeped around and found out. So this kid here in the United Kingdom goes around and basically commits crimes. He went into a library and ripped up a book. He threw some stuff at some guy that was just walking down. He did a number of things. He got into some carjacked, went through someone's house, basically home invasion. He's got this other kid that follows around and films him doing these crimes, and he says he did it for clout on social media. And now that he's been arrested, it's only because he's black, right? Only because it's a war on black, right? Here he is here. British TikToker Mizzy has surrendered to the Metropolitan Police. The 18-year-old TikToker has sparked outrage for filming a home invasion on a family home, is now in custody at the Bethnal Green Police Station. Good. Good. Here's him getting busted.
No, give me your number. Right down your number. I mean, I can give you the system or something.
Remember, this is just all racism. He committed these crimes on film, but the fact that he's getting arrested, it's racism. Can't give you a high five because he's handcuffed.
The movement is real.
He's literally handcuffed right now in the police station, and he's still making TikToks. And of course, it's just racism. It doesn't matter whether you're white, black, or brown. If you assault Orthodox Jews, ask women at night if they want to die, which is another prank he had, and damage property in a library, you deserve the consequences. Yes, thank you. One of the things that he did, actually, there was this Jewish gentleman standing on the sidewalk minding his own business, and he pranked the guy and basically assaulted him on the street. Awful, pathetic. Here he is here. TikToker who enters strangers' homes to defend his videos. I'm a black male doing these things, and that's why there's such an uproar on the internet. Let me just pull that a little bit closer. I'm a black male doing these things, and that's why there's such an uproar on the internet. No, it's because you're doing these things is why there's such an uproar on the internet. It's because what you did was morally outrageous. It was crime, was criminal, and you were stupid enough to record it. That's why. It doesn't have anything to do with the color of your skin. It's because you're a, you know what I'm going to say. But that's what people say when they get trouble. Here in Massachusetts last week, we had the U.S. attorney resign, and it wasn't long before some of her supporters on the interwebs started to say the only reason she got in trouble, and she did some bad stuff as the U.S. attorney, interfered with elections, stuff you can't do. But so many of her supporters said the only reason she got in trouble is because she was an African-American woman. No, the reason you got in trouble is because you screwed up and did things that you're not allowed to do as a U.S. attorney. The reason why Jamal Bowman is getting some blowback is not because he's black, but because he's boisterous and a bully. It had nothing to do with the color of his skin. All right, so I think that's going to be the show for today. I'm John F. Gately. You can call me Chad, broadcasting to you from beautiful Plymouth, America's hometown in Massachusetts. Have a great day. Bye-bye.